نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أفلم يسيروا في الأرض فتكون لهم قلوب يعقلون بها أو آذان يسمعون بها فإنها لا تعمى الأبصار ولكن تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور. This is a verse from Surah Al-Hajj, verse number 46, which I have recited, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning that have they not traveled through the land and have hearts by which to reason and ears by which to hear. For indeed it is not eyes that are blinded, but blinded are the hearts which are within the breast. This is the verse very important for the topic which we are going to talk today, and it is many things and very important things to remember in today's talk. I'll try to make it within this period which we have, half an hour, inshallah. I promised last Friday, that after we learned that about the intellect and all those things and what it means, what is an intellect, and that it is in the heart, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, before creating us or giving us this life on this earth, before that, even before the coming of Adam alayhi salam on this land, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or as soon as He brought Adam alayhi salam to this land, He took out from the back of Adam and from the backs of all the generations after him, everybody was brought out. As it is mentioned, as if somebody combs a hair and the things come down. So that's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as it is mentioned in the hadith in Tirmidhi, it's long hadith, I'm not going to read all of it, just I'll mention about it, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rubbed the back of Adam and created from there all his zurriyah. So the ones after each after each. All the zurriyah of Adam were brought. And they were like teeny tiny, like an ant. Just for example, it was very teeny tiny. And they were our arwah, our nafs. They were us, but in that form and shape. Everybody was brought out. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked him, am I not your Lord? And they testified, each and every one. This is the verse which we had last time. And this is means that and this is what we have mentioned last time, that the qalb of insan, in the heart of a human being, the qalb of a human being, there is recognition of Lord, of the Creator, the one who is created, the one who, the Rabb, alastu bi rabbikum. This is also known as ahdi alast. Alastu bi rabbikum, am I not your Lord? And they all said yes. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you, afterwards you don't say that we أن تقول يوم القيامة إنا كنا عن هذا غافلين, that we were unaware of it, so that you don't say on the day of judgment that we were not aware of it. So Allah made them aware. Or that you may say that, oh, actually, are you going to punish us because of what? our forefathers did. They were associating partners with, we came after. So all these things, we have mentioned some of these things last time, but just in this hadith, it's mentioned how it actually happened. It's not just some kind of metaphysical thing, but it actually happened in the world. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all of us at one point, at one stage, and He gave us the light. And that light actually is the light. You can say that light was shown on the forehead of everyone, but actually you can remember that this light which was there and this speech which happened has been recorded in the qalb. And that's what is called. That this is, as Imam Ghazali has mentioned before, last time we did it, that this is inside our heart, each and every human being. Yeah. And that's why the messenger's job, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also told them that we will send you the messengers. What is the job of messenger? Is to remind. They are not going to bring anything special or new to them. They are just going to remind them. That's what I mentioned last time from Surah, as you know, that إنما أنت مذكر, right? إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر. That's what we had in Surah al-Ghashiyah. You are only a reminder. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Rasulullah, you're just a reminder. إنما أنت مذكر لست عليهم بمسيطر. You are not appointed upon them as one who can force things. You're just a reminder. And that's why the Quran is also a dhikr. It is a reminder. So the Quran is the reminder, and the Rasul is a reminder. So this is the reminding them to wake up, as just somebody has forgotten something, and it is somewhere, and you remind him. And that's why also, you see, everything, the ayat of Quran are called ayat. That means they are signs to recognize the Creator. Similarly, the whole universe, ayat, heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are ayat. Those are the ayat that you can see. And these are the ayat which you read. So it's all reminder. That's why I said that the next time, as today, I'm going to mention what happens to the heart. Why some people don't come to realize they are, what happens to them? What's the problem? In fact, it should be, if it is like that, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that you don't say on the day, I was unaware. That means you are aware of it. Everybody is aware of it, has been given this awareness in the qalb. And as soon as he becomes, as I said, the aql grows with the age, and very early ages, the human being starts recognizing certain truth. This is true, this is false, this is possible, this is not possible. All those things at an early age. And then as he goes further, and then he realizes many things. So this is already there. So now what happens? What is the problem? The problem which today that's the reason I read that verse, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning something about the qalb, how they get blinded. That's what it is today's verse. That means, and it says that don't have they not traveled in the land, so that they should have Uloom, which they could understand, right? The reason, because that's the qalb has the reason, and that's what was the subject about the ilm. That gets the Uloom also additional after having the basic knowledge. person has been given eyes and ears, and he acquires further knowledge. Remember that the very first day I mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that we brought you out from the bones of your mothers, you knew nothing, and we created for you the eyes and ears and qalb. And the word is fuad, afida. So لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you became thankful to Allah. So that's what is it, the qalb, where it is mentioned, it is the place of reason, the intellect. That's the intellect. And in that, if that gets blinded, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this verse which I recited today, verse 46 of Surah Al-Hajj, in this Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is clearly mentioning that means that if had they traveled on the earth and seen the signs of the Creator, they would have recognized Him. They would have been reminded of the you can say of the covenant which they took, and the what they have testified before. But what happens, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because their hearts have blinded. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَلْ أَبْصَارِ. These eyes don't get blinded, but these are the hearts which are get blinded. You see, because we have these eyes and ears. With eyes we see objects, and we know this is what is what. And we recognize the different objects. But with qalb, we recognize different facts. If this is true, if this is false, if this is correct, if this is wrong, if this is good, if this is bad. So with qalb, we have that ability. And that's called basira in Arabic. And basara, that's with eyes. So that qalb, if it gets blinded, means it doesn't recognize the truth from the false. It doesn't recognize the false, you can say, ideologies and dogmas which the people have created and adopted, and doesn't recognize the truth and reality, and doesn't recognize the Creator and the oneness of that Creator, which it has been shown, and his heart knows it. So that means that this is the reminder is not working there. Why not working there? Because, so how it is blind? That's the thing we have to learn today. See, so there are two types of people. Just to start with here, there are two categories of people who do not get the message, who did not accept or realize or recognize and accept the Creator, and the one who is the provider of all the needs, all the creation, and our needs as well. We cannot make a single grain or a corn. We cannot make anything. It's all which is provided to us here. We are using it. That's the Rabb, who is the creator and provider of all this, everything. So that's why we are talking here now, just to be fast a little bit, that this is the point to realize that this heart, which has the ability to reason, when it hears something, looks at something, reasons, and there in it is there inbuilt that there is a Creator. He will recognize the Creator. It's all this creation, there is a Creator. And who is taking care of this? That's the Creator, that's the Lord. So this is in there. So this gets blinded. How it gets blinded? There are two ways of it. One is the actual, real, total blindness, it could be. And sometimes it can be the vision has been blurred. Or sometimes that the person is not looking at it, not using it. So this is, for example, I would like to explain here, again with the verses of Quran here, that one, and hadith of Rasulullah, there's one category of people who blindly follow their forefathers. Whatever they were doing, these people are doing without reasoning. No reason. And Allah has given us the reason. That's why it is called They have hearts, but they don't reason with it. They don't apply it, the intellect. So had they applied the intellect, they would have recognized that what their forefathers are doing are correct, not correct, are wrong. That's why it is mentioned in the initial verse that so that you don't say that on the day of judgment that our forefathers were doing this and we were just after them. You can't say that. You have been given the ability to recognize the right and wrong. Why you followed it blindly? Why you didn't use your reason? So that's one type, blindly following. These were all the mushrikeen of Makkah and all others, whether it is Jews or Christians, who blindly follow the whatever they receive from their parents, or Hindus or anybody, the idol worshippers. They just blindly follow what they don't apply the reason. And sometimes even it is said, their leaders will say, oh, this is a matter of faith. It is not a matter of reason. Oh, no, it's not. It is a matter of reason. So that's what it is when they don't apply it. They don't use reason. And they follow blindly. That's the case of most, a great majority of the people. Like the Christians, they have this weird type of belief. God is his only son, and the only son he sacrifices for the sins of the people. Is this justice? And it is three, but it is one. All those things, they just absorb it, don't put it to reason. So that's why Rasulullah has mentioned in Hadith Sahih again, in Tirmidhi, in which, in Bukhari also, in Bukhari, that كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. Every child is born on the true nature. The true nature means the nature which Allah has created and given the ability of reason and given the recognition of the Creator is inbuilt there, that He is one and He is the Creator. So this is كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. This is with which he is born. But وأبواه يحودانه أو ينصرانه أو يمجسانه. Then his parents make him either a Jew or a Christian or a fire worshipper. So that's what it means here. كل مولود يولد على الفطرة. And then he adopts these ideologies blindly, not putting to reason. These are the type of people, if you try to convince them and they apply, they convert, they come back, they revert, as we say. They revert. They understand, they realize, oh, this is wrong. This is not the truth. Truth is that there is God, is only one, and He is the creator, and He is the provider of the needs of all the universe. This is right. So all those facts, they use reason and they recognize and they accept. This is the reason why you see the people converting or reverting to Islam. That's why we say the word reverting. They have it inside, but they revert to it. So that's how, because their ideas were corrupted, and they adopted this blindly from their forefathers, and that's why they got astray. So this is one category of the people, and this is majority of the people are like that in the power of Magna. But there are some others. That's very dangerous part, which is much serious blindness, real blindness, total blindness. How that happens? That is when a person commits acts which by nature a person knows it is wrong. It is transgression. It is lie. It is injustice. All those things, and he does all of it. That's when time gets weaker and weaker and gets total blindness. That's why about whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ. If you read in Mutaffifin, Surah Al-Mutaffifin, you will find that. You see, because I We'll not go in each and everything here because we have a very short time. But I'm just reading that verse. It mentions about those who measure, who cheat the people in measure. Mutaffif is the one who cheats in measure and cheats in weighing. So these type of qualities they have. ويل للمطففين الذين إذا اكتالوا على الناس يستوفون وإذا كالوهم أو وزنهم يخسرون. So ألا يظن أولئك أنهم مبعوثون ليوم. So don't they think that they will be resurrected on a day? And that's the day when what will happen? Huh? And these are the type of people about whom Allah is saying, إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. When our verses, you can read in Surah Al-Mutaffifin, it's not a long surah, small surah. إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. They say, oh, these are stories of the past, stories, tales of the people. Asatu kalla, and Allah responds to them, no. Bal rana ala qulubihim. But there is a rust on their heart because of what they have been doing, their act. Kalla bal rana ala qulubihim kanu yaksibun. Because of the acts they were doing. These acts, similarly, also in a small surah, أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ بِالدِّينِ. Have you seen the person who denies the faith? أَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي يُكَذِّبُ فَذَلِكَ الَّذِي يَدْعُو الْيَتِيمَ. This is the one who drives away the orphans. فَلَا يَحُضُّ عَلَى طَعَامِ الْمِسْكِينِ. It doesn't encourage people to feed the poor. So see, here again is that those who reject faith. So these, what I want to say is that these facts which Allah has instilled in us about what is wrong and what is right. وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا in Surah Al-Shams. وَنَفْسِ وَمَا سَوَّاهَا فَأَلْهَمَهَا فُجُورَهَا وَتَقْوَاهَا. And He is still in it. It's goodness and badness. So people know lying, cheating, oppressing, doing injustices, all those things people know. These are no faith is required. No specific religion is needed. Every human being knows these are bad things. And if a person indulges himself in those bad acts, then his qalb gradually becomes totally blinded. Then he doesn't realize the truth and doesn't recognize or doesn't accept the Creator. He denies it. So this is the part about which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned. سَوَاءٌ عَلَيْهِمْ أَنذَرْتَهُمْ أَمْ لَمْ تُنذِرْهُمْ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. It's all the same. Whether you warn them or don't warn them, they are not going to. So what has happened to them? So their hearts have been sealed. Their hearts have become blinded. So they are not going to accept. So this is the second type of people, the most dangerous, you can say, the most miserable, that they will never accept the truth. And why it has happened to them? Not because of their own deeds. So this is another type of the category of the people who have basically blinded their intellect. The intellect, which recognizes the truth and reality and recognizes the Creator, that has been spoiled and has been deleted. And there's a hadith about this, explaining this verse. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us about الَّذِينَ يُكَذِّبُونَ بِالدِّينِ, these people, إِذَا تُتْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُنَا قَالُوا أَسَاطِيرُ الْأَوَّلِينَ. When our verses are recited, them say it's stories of the past, tales of the past. كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. No, but it is the rust which has happened on that. And this, how it is formed, very beautifully Rasulullah explained it. And that is that when a person commits a bad act, a sinful act, then a dot is formed in his heart, a black dot. If he repents and seeks forgiveness, it is cleaned. But if he continues. The dots keep on continuing, one after the other, one after the other, till it covers the whole heart. And then the Surah says, this is the ran. This is that rust which Allah has mentioned in His words. Kalla wal rana ala qulubihim ma kanu yaksibun. So this is the blinding of the qalb, which has this recognition, has this ability to realize, but it has to recognize the Creator and the Sustainer, the Rabb, and that He is only one, and He is the one who has to be worshipped. This is gone from him. He doesn't see it. So that's why I decided that verse, that it is the qalb which goes blinded. فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارِ. These eyes don't get blinded, directly the qalb gets blinded. How it gets blinded, why it gets blinded, that's what I mentioned to you. These are the reasons why it gets blinded. And once it is totally blinded, nobody can give guidance to it. He will never be able to see because he's blind from inside. So he will not be able to see and respond to the reminders. All these reminders will be of useless for him. Whether even if the messenger comes and reminds him, he will not be reminded. Any other person, of course, cannot do a reminder for him, and he would never accept it. So this is a category which is not the biggest part. The biggest part, I think, was that part where they don't use the reason, and they just adopt whatever they receive from their forefathers, and they get sentimentally attached to it, and they become very, you can say, emotional about it, and they're not going to leave it, you see. And this is what has happened to, see, all those mushrikeen of Makkah, and also the Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's beautiful, his examples, when he tries to bring them to realize through different ways. Last time I mentioned about that when he said, oh, this is the star, this is my Lord. And then how he rejected that this cannot be, it's just going in circles. It's just coming, going. It has no choice. It's being made to do something. And similarly about the sun, moon and about the sun, because they were worshipping all these. This is one aspect. And then he said, I turn to myself, to the one who has created everything in the heavens and the earth. And I don't accept yours idea. Similarly, it's also mentioned in the surah that he went one day. He showed that he is not feeling well. He was basically upset from inside, and he said, I'm not feeling well. And there was a big day for them, a day of celebration or something of their idols or whatever it is, a big celebration. They all went outside, see, for maybe some fun stuff. And then he went to their big place of worship, their temple, and there were so many idols inside. He broke them all, except he left the biggest one, and put the axe on his shoulder. And when they came in, and then they asked who could have done, and because he has mentioned bad things, so the people said, yeah, we know that's Ibrahim, he must have done it, bring him here. And then he asked him, there are two different occasions, or it is the same occasion in which he gave two answers. Once he said to them, okay, their big one has destroyed them. Ask him. Oh, they realize, oh, this is what. And then the other one, which is very clear, he says that ask them if they can talk. Then they say, you know that they don't talk. He said, oh, uffil lakum. It's so disgraceful for you that you worship some who cannot even talk, who cannot do any good or bad to you. So this is how he tried to bring them to reason, to recognize, to be reminded that these things do not worth to be worshipped. This is all false. Similarly, others, this is about those These are a few examples from Ibrahim alayhi salam in Quran. And there, as we see about the Christians, their faith, and you just talk to them, they have no basis. They don't use reason. So this is one category, as I said, which is the biggest category, that the people blindly follow the faith of their forefathers. They don't use the reason. If they use the reason, they would have been guided because it is already inside them. If they use it, they will realize it. So these, I just wanted to mention about these few facts regarding the subject, why it is there inside us, in our heart. Allah has put it there, and it is just needs a reminder. So any person, sane person, and that's why all the responsibilities of believing and acting among the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on an adult, sane adult. So, aqil baligh, those obligations which are made in Islam, like fasting or whatever commands, do's and don'ts in Islam, they all apply to a believer who is aqil baligh. Has to be an aqil, has to be a baligh. That means he has to be a sane person and he's mature. Sane and mature. So that's where he becomes responsible. And that's why, as you will see, Imam Ghazali mentioned later on, that actually it is the heart which is at rest, and the heart which is commanded, and the heart which is obedient, and the heart which is disobedient. So that's which Allah has put in the heart. And if that heart gets blinded or gets, then say, blurred, so you can call these two categories. Ones who get blurred because they are not using it, and they are just going with whatever their parents are doing, and the others that who are blinded. So this is just I wanted to mention, because that's why we have the main topic which is coming later and soon, inshallah. That's about the amal al-batina and the sins which are hidden and the righteous acts which are hidden inside, and how to handle them, how to treat them, how to cure the sicknesses in the heart, how to cure them. And that's where we will realize the importance of this qalb, and how to improve it, how to make it sound. And that are the things which we'll learn later on. But this is how the importance of the qalb. So the qalb needs attention. Qalb needs to be sound, not sick. So that's how the whole thing. That's why he brought this here at the beginning about the ilm and aql. And now the next is starting about the qawaid al-aqaid. We'll do these parts. The first half of the book, we'll go and we'll just make summaries. Not going to go more details. But afterwards, when we go, these are amal zahira. And then we have amal batina, which are hidden acts that are our amal al-qulub, you can say, the acts of the heart. That where we will go in more detail, inshallah. So we stop here today. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك